Win some Proline tyres, win some Proline tyres. Or you can win, get this puppy out of here, a winch. And it even comes with its little worn sticker. How cool is that, eh? So guys, that's going to be this year's competition. Some guys need tyres, some guys need a winch. Write me in the comment which of the two you need, and I shall put you in the draw. Now let's get back into today's video. So on this week's show, I want to see if I can build an entire crawler out of my scraps. So I've got my scraps box here. I was fiddling around what I have and I put it all into my box. The only thing I was missing was a good set of axles. So I had to go out and get some axles, but not just any axles. I got myself the SCX 10.3 Standard Axle conversion kit from Axial. Okay, let's put everything aside, oopsie, and talk about the axles, or unpack these axles. Let me actually bring this a little bit closer. So this is from Axial. This is the SCX 10.3 Standard Axle conversion kit. So looking at these axles, they look like Dana 60s. So very scale looking, and let's run through the features that they have. So first feature, AR45 standard solid axles. So not portal axles, solid axles. New AR45 standard solid axle housing featuring full ball bearings with metal gears and extra trusses for more durability. The front 3-piece axle features an offset pumpkin for more scale detail. Secondly, AR45 universal point axles provide up to 45-degree steering along with smoother action for an effective high-performance drivetrain. Then we come to the high point differential gears. High point differential gears are used along with a 6-bolt locker in both front and rear axles for strength and durability. Now coming to the 100mm large bore aluminium shocks allow you to take advantage of the AR45 axle design. The 100mm larger bore size creates more fluid volume for better performance. A bleed screw helps bleed air from the shocks during assembly for greater consistency. And of course, the shocks are tunable to achieve the best damping rates. So coming to the metal links, these are only for the front axles. I did not find rear links in this kit. So all links are metal, and all pivot points are stainless steel balls that provide durable, long-lasting performance. Then we come to the transmission gears. 34T and 20T transmission gears for use with the standard axle gear ratio are included. And coming to the wheelbase support. So the wheelbase I'm going to be running through in inches. So the standard axle conversion kit is designed for a 12.3-inch wheelbase, but supports all wheelbases, including a 12-inch, a 11.4-inch, and a 13.9-inch. Adjustments to the rear links may be required. DOI, obviously. So in millimeters, that would be a 313 and a 305 and a 353. So the 353 is actually quite interesting. Anyway, let's get these puppies out of the box. Come on. So already they feel brilliant. Let's put them on the table. Slowly. The shocks. Let's get the shock oils out of there. They're in the back here. It comes with 35 weight shock oil. And let's get these shocks on the table. Jeez. They don't play around with the packaging, that's for sure. Now the gearing, I've already, in brackets, sold them to my friend. So they are not in here. So, wow, these actually feel very nice. There's no oil in them yet, but I will be sure to fill them. So this is the back axle with the housing. It actually looks exactly like a Dana 60, I would say. And the front axle as well. and the offset pumpkin, obviously for that scaled, detailed look. Now let's put this down onto the side here. So I've done a bit of pre-assembly already. So the chassis is an Axial 2 chassis that I had lying around. So turning it around, for the front axle, you get these 2 links. The other links I had to make myself, and the panhard rod I also had to make myself. So you get these 2 links in the kit, and they are also angled so that you have less friction, which I find quite a nice little detail. So let's get the front axle onto this build. So first I'm going to be taking the panhard rod. I mean, hang on, this, I need to stand up to do this. Okay, that kind of sits like that. So let me get the servo horn mounted as well. So this is all very fidgety. All right, these are a very tight fit, these links, but that obviously is a performance part as well, that there is no play whatsoever. So this link I had to build myself, which is basically a 4mm threaded bar with a aluminium tubing that fits exactly over the bar, and you just cut it to length and put your plastic links on it, and that gives you the possibility to build a link exactly in the correct length. And now just getting this last link in here. Always slips out the last second. Here we go, here we go. Gotcha. So looking at my axle under full compression, it actually touches this. This mount is actually from the shock tower, and I think this shock tower is a flex kit, so that it actually flexes out quite a lot. That's why the panhard rod might sit a little bit lower in this case, but the problem is that it touches on the axle. Well, anyway, what I will do is mount the shocks, and let's see if that is still a problem once the shocks are mounted. So basically what I'm going to be setting this truck up is as high competition as I can get it for the beginning. I will be putting the shocks on the highest point of the front shock towers, and the shocks have a little offset at the top. So they're all the same length. The build is absolutely identical, but at the top here it has a little offset so that it doesn't interfere with the chassis. So I'm going to be using that for the top mount, and screwing now the shock onto the shock tower on the highest position that it has, and as far back as possible. I'm going to do that to the other side as well. So I'm just be choosing the top row and the furthest one to the back, and that's the setting I'm going to be running with for the beginning. So the axle has a separate mounting point to the links. Some have the shock absorbers on the links. This one has a separate shock mounting point a little bit higher up. So all the screws that I've been using are 3mm, and they vary from 1.4 to 1.6 in length, and that's kind of the sizes that are required for putting the links and the shocks onto the axles. So let's put it upside down. So we have a nice axle twist and going all the way into compression. Yeah, we kind of have that little issue where the axle touches that pan hot rod. And I can't swing it around because there is the main connection of the axle on this side. So I can't actually take that pan hot rod and swap it around and try and make it run the other way. This is the way it runs. But let's see if I really need that much compression on this build. I'll probably get away with it looking at it like this. So I'm probably quite good in line with that at the moment. Okay, let's get the rear axle in. On the rear axle, I have built myself some links. Normally, I like to keep my links round, like these links that I've built on this side. But I thought, let's try this. I've seen it on Motor Trend channel, where they actually build these massive square links on their big trucks just before they go to ultimate adventure. So I thought, you know, let's see if I can actually use a square link instead of a round link. Let's mount that rear axle quickly. So on the rear axle, we have the center links coming to the top here and the bottom links to the bottom section here, and then the shock towers, they mount on the link just above. Okay, rear axle is in, got a good compression on it. Let's turn it around. Actually got a good compression on it. I have a good articulation. I'm happy with that at the moment. The truck will sit quite low, so it'll be sitting somewhere around this area maybe. And looking at the angle of the diff, it is looking upwards. So seeing that I don't want to be riding as high as possible, I want this truck to be sitting low. My angle changes as it goes into the suspension, and then that prop shaft will run almost as straight as possible. So we have a rolling chassis in brackets. Let's pop the wheels on. TRX4 tires. I like these tires, they're actually quite grippy, and I think for my first test run they will be more than efficient. But at the moment I just want to see how the truck actually stands. So okay, here she stands. Works well in suspension. I have quite a nice axle twist with these axles. I mean, it's axial axles connected to an axial chassis, so obviously it's working. Articulation is very nice. I'm very happy with this. But I think the truck can be sitting a little bit lower in the end. At the moment the shocks are pushing it up. There's no oil in the shocks yet. We will still get to that, and we will still get to mounting our electronics and everything to get this truck running. So I have some standard axial rock sliders in here sitting on the standard axial plates. I've set them a little bit further back because it centers on the scrambler body. Now let's put that all in place. Let's see where my mounts fit. Pop, that's where it kind of sits. And am I centered? No, not really. Now I am centered, and I need to be a little bit lower. So guys, that is my first build out of scraps. I've actually never done a scrap build before, but I think in the long run what we're going to be doing with this is taking it out on the trailer and let's see what upgrades we can do to it. Because the axles are really good axles in this little truck. Would be a shame not to use its potential. So what do you think? Lower or higher? I think the trucks or the actual scramblers that are out there in 1-to-1 in full scale, they do sit high. They have this tall look, and I actually am digging this tall look altogether. I have got a dashboard 3D printed in here. I still have not glued on my fuel cell. I am missing the front window, but all in all, this truck is looking amazing. I really, really like the look of this truck. So guys, that's it from me for this week. Stay tuned for part 2. See you next time. Bye.